Hey, how's it going, everybody? So today we're going to be getting started on some MacBook boards that don't work. Unfortunately, there's not going to be any more overhead camera because the overhead camera is dead. New guy tried to replace the HDMI port in the Sony A5100, and now there is no more Sony A5100. And since I am a cheapskate, I'm not buying another one. So all we've got today is the normal one. Not that you really need an overhead camera anyway. Oh, you're going to have to see my ugly face while I'm taking things apart. You're going to have to see my ugly face as I take things apart. But that's fine. My ugly face isn't that bad. I hope it's not that bad. Hope it's not, too disgusting to all of you. So, anyway, let's get started. What's first on the list? First on the list is... Let's start out with some nice, simple, easy, breezy, beautiful, no backlight on an A1466 MacBook Air. So, we're going to get started on this no backlight A1466 MacBook Air and go from there. Not like you're the model employee. I'm an amazing employee. Rip Sony again. Yes. Luck, but the person that broke the camera said that they would get me a nice, shiny new red camera. He's been talking about the red camera for the past 2 weeks, nonstop. And now, he finally has a chance to get me one. Lies. Nipper is incorrect. You're close, but actually very far. Incorrect. Tolerated it for this long. We're not here for the face. But damn straight. If you were, I'd question your taste. What are your thoughts on Alienware laptops quality-wise? I haven't really opened any, so I can't say. I mean, of course it's going to be overpriced, but I'm not really sure what the inside is like. I have very little respect for any laptop that in 2018 solders the power jack to the motherboard when you can just have the power jack separate from the board. I have very little respect from machines that are that poorly engineered. So let's see if we can figure out why this machine's got no backlight. Let's turn on my meter. Turn on my... There we go. This is an 820-3437, which is fairly old. You ever exchange services for repair? Free burritos for a year for repair. No, because I don't really know if the quality of your burritos is going to go down after the repair is done, you know what I'm saying? Nah. Yeah, I wouldn't fuck with that. I wouldn't do that. Have you seen the 5 gigahertz monster that Linus tested? No, but I'm going to check that in the next video. The overhead camera get fixed? No, it is dead. Okay. All right, so we got the multimeter. Bing. Bada bing, and we're going to check out the backlight circuit. Let's see what we get. So the backlight circuit's going to be right over here on D7701. It's going to be the output. As usual, I can just click one button, and thanks to the magic of Paul Daniels, it just brings me right to that area on the board. Check out his software at pldaniels.com. Don't delay. Subscribe today and get a free 30-year guarantee that his software will always work with Windows Defender antivirus. That's actually a joke. Okay, so the first thing we got to do before we do any sort of backlight testing is have the machine open on the desk. If the machine is not open on the desk, then it won't know to turn on the backlight. It's not going to turn on the backlight if it's actually closed. Fortunately, you can't see me when I open or close the machine because my overhead camera's dead. Poor little overhead cam. Rest in peace. He had a good life, 2016, 2018. But it's off to a new world now. The HDMI ports in those are really crappy, I gotta say. Like my NEX EA50, I have abused the hell out of that thing. And the HDMI ports are still good. And that Sony camera just sat there doing nothing. Never get, and it died. And then I replaced the HDMI port, and then it died again, and then that's some BS. As you can see, we're getting 7.5 volts in output, which means that it's just not boosting. It's not that the fuse is blown, because if the fuse is blown, the fuse over here was blown, then I'd be getting 0 on backlight output. The fact that I'm getting 8 means it's working, it's just not boosting. So we're going to take the board out of the machine and take a look and go from there and see what's going on and see if we can figure out what's causing my problem. So let's take this board out of the machine. Unfortunately, since we don't have an overhead camera, you're going to have to see my face, which is, if there's any way that I can trick all of you into buying me a new overhead camera, it should probably be if forcing you to watch more of my face. So let's get started. I'm going to get my magnet, and we're going to take this board out of the computer, and you're going to be stuck looking at me. Oh, yeah. Paul Daniels is here. The man himself. Paul Daniels. I have to head out of town today and just happen to catch a stream. You're going to make me late. Yeah, look at this. He's been released. He released this software like 4 days ago, and he's already getting invited to coding conventions and to fly around the world to create new software for people. I'm happy that Paul Daniels is finding this amazing success. If anybody deserves it, it's Paul Daniels at podaniels.com. Don't delay. Subscribe today. How's it going, Acousticism? Acousticism, make my overhead camera work again. How to not code software conventions. Paul, are you still getting all those Richard Stallman-ish comments because after 3 years of making free software for the board repair community, you finally decided to charge $79 for something that's life-changing and time-saving? And it's amazing because it's not like Paul Daniels is a dude that has nickel and dime people over the years. All the stuff that he has released for free to everybody. Like the one time he's like, "May I please have some bread, sir? I would please like some bread, sir, for this new software I've created, sir." They're like, "No bread for you! Dare you violate the GPL?" Love this new water container. Fit about 2 liters of 1 or 2 liters of filtered water into it so I don't get thirsty over the day. I've had a really bad habit of not drinking enough water and being dehydrated, so having something like this is good. I've said I wanted to get one for years, but I finally did. You do realize I conceded to your whims and changed my avatar. Very good. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. I really missed the kitty in the... The amount of time people would say with FlexBoard View would be more than the license. Exactly. And it's like, you want to go back to Landrex? Seriously, you want to go back to Landrex? Because I was thinking of doing another shill video for Paul, but I was going to do it to the tune of that Frank Sinatra song, "Just give me an old-fashioned Christmas." Except instead of that, he'd be singing, "Just give me an old-fashioned board view. I love me that old-fashioned board view." And throughout the video, while that song was playing, I'd be fixing a board using Landrex instead of Open Board View, just to remind people what type of hell we lived in before Paul Daniels. I think people forget what it used to be like. Do you fuckers realize that in this business, you had to use fucking Landrex that hasn't been updated since 1995. Nobody gave a crap about you. Nobody. And then Paul Daniels came along, and he cared about us. So damn straight I'll show his software for free. Okay, we got the board out of the computer. Now we're going to take a look at what that backlight area looks like under the microscope. Rick Vandermark says Landrex can burn in hell. It's one of those things, like on the internet, if the best way to get an answer to a question is not to ask, it's to give the wrong answer. And the best way to get somebody to program something good for you is not to ask them, it's just to use really bad software on camera over and over again. Okay. So as you can see, the backlight circuit is going to be U7701, which if I right-click, will bring me right to that chip on the board. You can see that that's on the other side of the board, which is going to be over here. And let's see what that looks like. Wow. That's a lot of pubes. Oh, by the way, Paul, no, I'm not going to be getting the 220-volt quicks because they still don't have them. So if you want to get them from Union, I won't be mad. I can't get them. Sorry, Paul. So as you can see, if we look under the chip, it looks like that ball at the bottom right has been taken over by pubic hair. Look at that. See that? Gross. So we're going to remove that and see if that solves our problem. So I'm going to put some flux on the chip. Flux available on store.rossmangroup.com. And after that flux is on my chip, I'm going to get the hot air and the soldering station on. We're going to make ourselves something good. I often see you cleaning up with Q-tips, wondering why you don't use soft toothbrush to avoid fuzz. Because the toothbrush doesn't actually absorb anything, it just spreads stuff around, whereas a Q-tip actually absorbs. I'm really happy Paul put in the work that he did. I've been using his new software and it's great. A big recommendation to anyone in repair, and a big thanks to @Paul Daniels from Rick Vandermark. Indeed, a big thank you to Paul Daniels. Not enough good things I could say about Paul Daniels. Okay, we've gotten the chip taken off, and you can see that the ball on the bottom right is smaller than the other balls. If I zoom in, you'll see that our ball on the bottom right is smaller than the rest because it's corroded itself away. But that's fixable. We can make this work. All you got to do is a little bit of flux over there. By the way, all the flux that we got now at store.rossmangroup.com is completely fresh. New batch arrived today. We got some beautiful Amtech flux. None of that old crap. And turn on soldering iron. Oh, wow. It turns out it works much better if you actually turn it on. There we go. Turn on soldering iron. Turn on soldering iron. I'm going to wick away the old solder. Going to clean this off. I did wick away a little bit of the solder on those two resistors, so we can just make that pretty. Very nice. Now we're going to get ourselves a new LED driver. I wonder where we could find an LED driver if we found out that we needed an LED driver. Well, this is an 820. Sure. This is an 820-3437 board. So if I needed an LED driver, what I would do is I would head over to store.rossmangroup.com and I would type in the number of my board. When you type in the number of your motherboard, you can simply click, or before you click, you can check it out and you'll see that it lists all the different chips that are required in your board. An LED driver actually shows up right over here. If I didn't want to click right over there and I wanted to see all the chips available, all I got to do is click here and it'll bring me up all the different parts that are available for that machine, from batteries, DC inboards, trackpads, SMC stencils, trackpad connectors, backlight fuses, clock chips, 5-volt regulators, SMC reset ICs, or even LED drivers. Click and you'll find that you can buy it for $279. Buy in quantity, and it's even as low as $249. Buy 5 for $249 each and save 11% on your chip. Don't delay. Buy today. Do you ship to Germany? Absolutely. We ship all products to Germany. We're happy to ship to Germany. We're just going to put a little bit of flux on there. Get ourselves a brand new LED driver sourced from store.rossmangroup.com. And put that beautiful new LED driver right on our board. Press down. As easy as pie. We're going to preheat it a little bit before we put the iron really close. See, if the board itself is cool, it's going to absorb the heat. So even if the chip is burning, the pads will be cold because the board is cold and it's absorbing the heat. So I need the board to be warm. You use new parts. Are you sick? This is BGA. I'm not reballing a chip that costs $2 or $3 or whatever. Screw that. So now that the board is kind of warm, I can move my hot air directly over the chip. And there it goes. Now once I see that it's kind of dropped, I'm going to move the hot air around and make the chip dance. Dance, baby, dance. And after 5 seconds of the chip dancing, I move it away. We're going to let it cool off a little bit. Do you ship to Texas? Of course we ship to Texas. Do you think the upcoming trade tariffs will impact the price on parts by a notable margin? Not really. For reasons that I can't say on a public live stream. But, okay, so let's take a look. Look at what those balls look like. Those are some beautiful balls, folks. Those are beautiful. That is sexy. Oh, yeah. Those are some quality balls. Loving it, loving it. Now this board's probably going to have a beautiful backlight, and let's just plug it in and see if we get a backlight. I bet we're going to get a beautiful backlight. Don't forget to buy your LED driver from store.rossmangroup.com. Don't delay. Buy today, because I need to get myself a new overhead camera since somebody broke it. No, I'm kidding. That thing was dying anyway. I can't blame him all for it. I kind of can. Makes me feel better to blame him for it. Do you do local pickup? Absolutely. If you check out and choose local pickup, you can pick up your device in store. With all your experience in this industry, how much do you have to learn the hard way, like messing something up or pissing someone off? Oh, all the time. Still piss people off, but for not really the reasons that you would expect. But yeah, you know. How do you think any of us learn how to do most of this stuff? You have to screw up. The thing is, you should just screw up on things that belong to you versus things that belong to others. And if you screw up on something that belongs to somebody else, you'd better be able to fix it or be willing to replace it for him. Did you see Amy on iPad rehab video? I did not. I have not seen Amy. Is Amy Jess's new employee, or? why don't you pre-record this and just hit a button? I like to live stream because it's fun. It makes the process of doing this more fun. I like being able to have a dialogue back and forth with people if anything interesting comes up. And then what I do is I record. So I live stream using the GPU, and then I record X264 CRF8 using the CPU. And then I cut it up for later. Okay, so this is going to turn on, off, on, off, on, off, and then on. So let's see if I get a light on the screen. I mean advertisement. Oh, the shill. Well, that's no fun. I like having a spontaneous shill. Do you have any fears that Apple will be producing quality products and you'll have to start working for your money by fixing other quality products? You think Apple's going to start producing quality products? LOL. L-O fucking L. All right, by the way, as you can see, we have a backlight on the screen, which means that we've made this board great again. So with that, we are going to be moving on to the next board. You think Apple's going to start making quality products? That's so cute. Oh, that's adorable. I could just pet you. Aww. Aw, you think Apple's going to start making stuff that actually lasts? All right, you think they're going to start putting proper design and engineering over form and... Yeah, right. You're crazy. You crazy. That's cute. That's adorable. You're adorable. Long distance wireless charging tech. That kind of scares me. Long distance wireless charging kind of makes me wonder if it's going to wind up charging me more than the device. Would you like to change your long-distance wireless charging provider? Lol. Next board. Next Apple product. What's wrong with this other Apple product? Okay. Next up is an 820-00165, I believe, that doesn't turn on. Huh? Oh, after this one. I never put things back together. I put things back together as often as you turn off the iron so that it doesn't burn out.
Well, I was going to work on this.
Actually, you put the sleep sensor on, so never mind. I take it back. What's your opinion on Rewa? I'm a coin flip as to whether or not their repairs are real or semi-staged. They seem like they know what they're doing. But I watched a few MacBook repairs that they did, and some of them are good, and some of them are... That really never breaks. Did you kind of break that on purpose. I don't know. I met them. They seemed nice when I met them in person. They seemed like nice enough people when I met them in person. How often, if ever, do you have to take your scope apart to clean dust from inside the optics? I don't think I've ever taken that apart. If I take it apart, it's not going to go back together. Why do all the motherboards have so many pubes in them? It's an Apple exclusive feature. Indeed. Linus made a video about wireless charging, and he said it uses tracking, and the high-intensity IR beam will never come in contact with things like your eye. Don't trust it. I don't wish to be charged.
They claim that the laser tracks the machine that's moving, so it can do precise, like, radiation thing onto it.
Okay. Okay, let's see. I want to thank you for creating all this content and delivering it all for free. I had a broken MacBook Pro. I identified the issue, but I can't repair it. My hands and my eyes are really bad. So I contacted your admin, DocVault, and I'm sending the laptop. Awesome. Are you in Italy? I'm guessing you're somewhere around Italy if you're sending it to him. I really should make some sort of network for people who are out of the country to help find technicians that are competent and qualified in their area. Like Paul Daniels. Or DocVault. No. Even though I couldn't fix the board myself, I feel like I learned so much in the process that I got really happy. Thank you for your hard work and teaching me so many things, electronics and life in general. I look up to you. Thanks. Thank you, Random. I appreciate that, Mr. Random. How is your microphone connected? My microphone is connected via, okay, I soldered on this little Sennheiser 1/8" thingy. It goes to a Sennheiser SK100 body pack. That Sennheiser SK100 goes to, whatever the opposite of it is. So that this is the transmitter, then it goes to the receiver. And that connects to a Sony NEX EA50 camcorder. The NEX EA50 camcorder then goes to the Magewell capture card. And then all of that random stuff. I'll show you what that goes to in a sec. That goes to... Yeah, then it goes to this thingy where I can... So I have this denoiser. This gets rid of the air conditioner. See? Without, with. Without, with. That's pretty cool. This thing gets rid of the low end, which is present on the supercardioid mic. And if I yell, it compresses it. See? Ah! So that it's not too loud. And this is one of those loudness maximizer thingies so that it goes as loud as it can without clipping. And that's my mic setup. That's what I use. It's cool stuff. That program is called VST Host. I sent my MacBook into you. Can you upgrade the RAM? Not if it's soldered on. I don't do that. Rewa did a video on it. It technically is possible. It's just not something I think is economically viable or worth it. Well, first you have to replace the RAM. Then if the RAM then you have to reprogram the BIOS. Then if it beeps, how do you know which one of the but how do you know which of the 32 RAM chips you soldered on is the bad one if it beeps? You don't. Yeah, you pray that it doesn't beep, and that's not good enough for me. What is your happy temp for soldering joints? 700 to 840 Fahrenheit, depending on what it is. Fahrenheit. As long as it's not Celsius, I'm fine. Not if it's like if I'm soldering a BIOS chip to a programmer board, I lower it. Yeah. Rewa did a good video on updating soldered on RAM. They didn't show the BIOS programming part, though.
You tell the customer to come in here and do it himself, like that guy last time.
Yuck. Gross board. All right, let's take a look at this board. First thing you'll notice is that there's a pin corroded on the JTAG connector. It's almost broken off. Look at that.
Let's replace it.
I'm not replacing no JTAG connector.
You should try replacing it. It'd be so hard to melt every single time.
Look at that JTAG connector. Next up, the DC in transistor looks like it has a big notch of oily looking stuff on it. I don't know what the hell that is. This is where the power from the charger is going to come in the board, and ew, that's some wet oily crap. And then the other side of the board, it looks kind of wet. I don't know if that's cleaning fluid, water. I can see that somebody attempted to clean this before, and I can see that this, oh yeah, this is a common area to corrode, so it looks like maybe some solder was applied there. This was corroded at one point. So what I can tell that somebody has cleaned this before simply because this area was previously corroded. All right, see how this is not really the proper silver? Like this is nice and silver, but this is not. I wasn't the first one here, was I? Let's see. Let's see and confirm. So let's take a look. I bet that I'm not the first one here. So let's look up this customer ticket. Okay, if we look at the original customer ticket, liquid spill on computer through the fan port, took the local repair shop, and they cleaned the computer. Great. Thought charging port was bad since it would not charge, but was able to run on battery, was able to run until battery died. They changed the charging port and battery, but did not help. They believe the logic board needs replaced. When computer was running, it would start off quiet, and about 10 seconds, and the fan would go to high speed until computer was shut back down. Great. All right. So somebody else already messed with it. Boo. All of our hints are going to be gone. That sucks. All right, so first thing we're going to do is plug it in. When I plug it in, it's drawing 0 amps on my power supply. Since it's drawing 0 amps, that tells me that there's nothing going on. So let's take a look. I'm going to get the board view and the schematic up. It's not this board's first prom night indeed, Andre. Okay, so we're going to open up a 00165 schematic and board view and Paul Daniels' amazing software. And let's see what I get on some of the main power rails. Now I'm getting a light on the charger, which means that PP3V42 is there. You need PP3V42 to be present in order to get a light in the charger, because this is the rail that is responsible for the SMC chip turning on. If you take a look over here, you'll notice that U5000, which is my system management controller, this is powered by PP3V42 underscore G3 hot. And this is the chip that's going to talk to the charger. As we can see, if I look for something called sys one wire, sys one wire is on the DC in board. This is where the charger speaks to the system management controller, and this needs to happen, and the SMC needs to work for that to work. So PP3V42 is present. I know that because I'm getting a green light in my charger. The next rail that we want to look for is Pipibus G3 hot. We're going to find that on F7140. So let's take a look and see what we're getting on our Pepe bus. If I look over here, Pepe bus G3 hot is 1.5 volts. Now 1.5 volts is no good. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for something closer to 8.5 volts. So if we, yeah, that's no good. Where's Pepe bus G3 hot? See, it's going to give me the voltage that I expect to see there if I keep searching. Here we go. PP bus G3 hot. It says 8.6 volts. So you need 8.6 volts. And we're not getting 8.6. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to see if there's a short to ground on that line. Let's see if that's the case. 7.9 million ohms. So we don't have the issue of a short to ground. There's no short to ground on the line. 7.4 million ohms. So what we're going to do next is check out what's actually creating that line. And what creates the line, PP bus G3 hot, is U7100. So U7100 is going to be found down here. This is U7100. Now let's take a look around that area. Let's see if we're getting all the things that we're supposed to be getting over there. So first things first, we're supposed to be getting charger DC in. On pin 2. And we are. Next thing, let's check current sensing. Ah, here we go. I believe we have found the cause of our problem. So, there's something called a current sensing circuit. The way a current sensing circuit works is it wants to be this chip over here, U7100, which controls my charger, controls the power coming from the adapter. It wants to know how much current is flowing through the system. This is similar to wanting to know how fast water is moving down a stream. You can't tell from looking at a stream how fast the water is going, but you can tell if you put your hand in. You can feel how hard the water is moving. Now, let's say that that my friend wants to know how fast the water is going through the stream, but my friend's really far away from the stream. I'm going to put my hands in the stream, I'm going to feel how fast the water is moving, and then I can yell to my friend and tell him how fast the water is moving through the stream. The same thing is happening over here in this circuit. If you take a look, let's get this in full screen so that it looks all nice and pretty. Does it look nice and pretty yet? Now it looks nice and pretty. So this is going to be the hand in the stream over here, R7120. Why does it not follow my cursor properly? Bastard. Follow my cursor. Follow my cursor. You piece of bastard. Anyway, okay, it's not going to follow my cursor. So R7120 is like the hand in the stream over here. So you have from adapter, the voltage is going to go from the adapter, and it's going to go down here before it goes to the system. After it goes through this resistor, it's going to go down here and become PP bus G3 hot, which powers the battery along with everything else in the computer. Now, this resistor is like the hands in the stream, and there's going to be a teeny tiny voltage drop when you move across this resistor. That teeny tiny voltage drop across the resistor is going to be directly correlated to the amount of current being used by the circuit. The more current being used by the circuit, the greater the voltage drop. The less the current being used by the circuit, the lower the voltage drop. Now the ISL 6259 is kind of like my friend, whereas R7120 is my hand in the stream. So the R7120 is going to yell over to the U7100, hey, there's this much voltage drop in the circuit, which is going to mean, hey, the circuit's using 3 amps. The U7100 is going to have a connection to the top of the resistor, and over here, to the bottom of the resistor. That's charger CSI-P and charger CSI-N. So what it's going to do is it's going to figure out the difference between charger CSI-P and charger CSI-N, and it's going to use that, and the larger that value is, the more amperage the circuit's using. The lower that value is, the less amperage the circuit's using. Now, how would we measure to make sure that this is working? So we have charger CSI-P, which has a 10 ohm resistor in between the chip and the current sense resistor, and charger CSI-N, which has a 10 ohm resistor between it and the current sense resistor. Now, if I want to see if the circuit's working, I could either measure between the chip and this resistor, between this resistor and that resistor, between this resistor and that resistor, this resistor, and then back here. But that's a lot of work. What I would rather do is simply add up all the resistances on screen, which is 10 plus 10 plus 0.02, and then add that together. That comes out to 20.02. So if I measure between pins 27 and pin 28 on ISL 6259, the total resistance that I get should be equal to the sum, which means that the total resistance should be 20.02. Now if I go over here to the chip itself and I measure between pins 27 and 28, Let's see what I get. I get 27.6 million ohms, and the M is flashing. Paul, why is the M flashing? Paul! I'm sure Paul will fix that later. So now, somewhere in the line, this is broken. So let's measure each one of these resistors and see if it's either one of these 10 ohm resistors. So that resistor is 10 ohms. That's not the connection that's broken. This resistor is 10 ohms. That's not the connection that's broken. The connection between the resistor and the chip is not broken. The connection between this resistor and this chip is also not broken. Now, if we follow along the line, it should be very obvious why this is broken. So let's zoom in and follow along. This resistor, let me also just shrink the PDF so I can show you where this is supposed to be going. Remember, this resistor up here is R7121. R7121 is going to attach to R7120 over here. And that is going to follow through over here. And what's this? It's broken. It's broken. So where this is supposed to go, there's nothing there. See? From here to here, there's nothing left. See, is there a... Is there a nub? Can't even find a nub. It got burned out. And it's expected that that got burned out because this is 16 volts. This is a high voltage line compared to everything else in the machine, so it's no wonder that that sissy little probe point got burned. So now what we're going to do is find out where that's supposed to go. We're just going to run a wire. So it seems like it's going to the other side of the board, right over here, right by this, right to this. So let's run a wire. Jumper wire and start a fire, as I like to say. That is a via to the other side of the board.
I'm assuming I actually need this for it to work.
Yes.
Let's sign a HAKKO.
.26 gauge. What are you kidding? 36 to 50. This one's probably going to be 40 or 44 gauge. I lost my X-Acto knife, which is why I'm using this. Yeah. I really should find my X-Acto knife. Because soldering to the resistor is a very tiny area, whereas this is a big area, so it'll be easier for me to do. For the person who asked, why am I soldering here instead of directly to the resistor? Fucking HAKKO. Hey, Game Boy Genius, how are you? Fuse says, that's a nice trace you've got there. It would be a shame if something blew a hole in it. Yeah. Thank you, Igor. It's very kind of you. I will. Since you gave me that $1, I'm going to stop singing now. And humming. It's the least I can do. Okay. Why didn't I get rid of this stupid foamy crap in the beginning? Okay. Connected nicely. And what else do we have here? There's also this chip, which, let's face it, this is going to wind up dying a week after I give it back to them. I can't leave this like that. So that's got to go. U1950 is for something to do with all-sys power good and PMPCH power good. This is a common one. This is why you don't clean the board and leave stuff like that on there. That's just going to wind up failing a week after the customer gets it back. Get the Quick 861DW. Damn straight. It's a good station. C80 Pro says, my milk is cold and Rossman is live. I'm ready. How are the cats? Question for you, since Apple is fixing the latest... How is Apple fixing the Intel chips with their Spectra meltdown issues? I have no idea. I didn't even hear about the Spectra meltdown issues. I feel like such a noob. Tell me about it. What am I missing? The chip looks like it's bleeding, doesn't it? Look at that. It looks like there's blood coming out. There's blood coming out from the chip. Blood coming out from its wherever. Oh man, there's blood came out of the chips wherever. And it's everywhere. Ugh. I hate when blood comes out of the chips wherever. That wherever blood really doesn't want to leave. Oh well. It'll be fine, I'm sure. Time to put a new U1950 on there. I'm going to turn this thing on, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be great. Get you nice and flat on the board. You get a capacitor on you. Uh-oh. Nice. Okay, we're just going to wait a second for this to cool off. Once it cools off, we're going to test it. Probably be amazing. The fan spins. I'm done. And as always, I hope you learned something. So to look over this board, get an idea of what our problem was. Our current sensing circuit had a disconnection between R7121 and R7120. So the ISL 6259 would not be able to see the voltage at the top of this resistor. It would not be able to tell how much current the charger was using. So as a result of that, the ISL, which controls whether the charger gets to see the computer, decided to turn off and not let the charger see the computer as a result of not being able to tell how much power it was using. Since it couldn't tell how much power was being used, it decided to shut everything down, and that's that. That's how we fixed this, and as always, I hope that you were able to learn something from it. That's what we're looking for here. And with that, we are going to move on to the next board. Wait, no. I have to put this back first. Let's see. Before we move on to the next board, I'd like to shill a friend of a friend's YouTube channel. Have you ever been in a situation where your friend introduces you to one of their friends that's a musician and they suck, and you're at that awkward point where you either have to lie and pretend that their music is good to avoid confrontation, or be a confrontational asshole and say, "Man, your friend's music really sucks." Thankfully, my friend's friend actually had good music, so I didn't have to go through that really awkward and annoying stage with them. You can check them out here on their new YouTube channel called Lilu. I have a link in the description below. It's actually some pretty good music, so it avoided me the entire awkwardness of having to pretend that their music did not suck, because it actually doesn't suck. Don't delay. Subscribe to Lilu today. With that, we will move on to the next board. Can you settle down? My boyfriend is in love with you, says Kairi Doku. What? That's no good. Good music. Okay. 20751. Lewis is loved by no one. Lewis is indeed loved by no one. 207. Okay, notes left, estimate good, and next one. What's wrong with this?
No backup.
But you fixed this one already.
I mean, should have worked, and it just didn't.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
I replaced the output.
You broke something, man?
No, I didn't.
You broke it? You broke it like you broke my camera.
Oh, yeah? Oh. Yeah. That's all we'll fix the camera. What happened?
What about girlfriend? Girlfriend loves you. If girlfriend loved me, she would replace my Sony A5100 with a red camera. Girlfriend doesn't love me. Thanks to you, I fixed a badly soldered BGA chip. Awesome. If girlfriend loved me, she would get me a red camera. What happened to the Sony? He fucked it up. Him. It's him. I can't put him on camera for reasons I can't say. But he fucked it up. And I can't even... He fucked it up. No, I'm kidding. He doesn't know what I'm saying. Linus can fix that camera. I'll send it to Linus. Yeah. I'll trade Linus his red camera for my Sony A5100. Red camera can't do 60 frames per second. I refuse to believe it. That thing's like $30,000. There's no way in hell it can't do 60 frames a second.
It can. You can do 60 at 8K.
It better be able to do 60. Maybe he just chooses not to use 60.
At 8K.
So, oh my god. I'm coming my pants just thinking about that. 8K, 60 frames a second, large sense. Reflowed my iPhone 6 to the recycling center and bought a Samsung. Couldn't be happier. But seriously, thanks for the content and keep up the good fight for right to repair. Awesome on you for getting a phone that's not Apple. You should notice that your testosterone is going to start going up. You're going to start feeling healthier. If you have grays, they're going to start going away. If you have cholesterol, it's going to start going down. I'm telling you, moving away from Apple products, it's good for your health and well-being. So that being said, let's move on to this. Where's the screen? Need screen to test with. So no backlight. No backlight on a 00165. What? It's from Sunny. You gave me a board to work on from Sunny when there's stuff that actually matters here? What?
Well, no, because the customer from Sunny is yelling at him.
I could care less if the customer from somebody else is yelling at him. It's not yelling at... Fuck him. No, okay, fine. Let's figure it out. All right, so this is a 00165 board, so I can keep up the same board view. So let's try and figure out why this 00165 board has no backlight. So we're going to see what we have on backlight output. Backlight output is 10. Nah, 13.8 volts. So it's 15 volts, 8 volts, 9 volts, 8 volts. Sad. How many people do you employ now? I think 5. Yeah, 8.5 volts on backlight output. So that would tend to imply, as usual, either backlight enables not present or no feedback. If we were to switch over to the schematic and the board view. So where's board view? There's board view. We can... Yeah. All right. So first, either feedback is missing from here to the chip, or enable is missing at BKLEN. So let's check out BKLEN. I can just right-click on BKLEN, and it shows right up. Thanks to the software produced by Paul Daniels. So backlight enable is already present, you say?
I think I checked something that I heard.
Well, let's see. .8. It is present. Let's check backlight PWM. .3. So it's being told to be bright. All right, so let's remove this LED driver and do some testing. I think that feedback is not connected. Feedback is going to be between here and here. Looks like this has been soldered before. So what we're going to do is we're going to check and see if feedback is connected to backlight output. Now, according to the board view software, the backlight output is actually present on these two pins. So if it's not, I'm just going to solder a wire there, and hopefully that'll fix it. So let's see what resistance we get between backlight output and feedback. 0 ohms. Now let's see what we get between the other side of the board, backlight output, and there. 0 ohms. Interesting. Another backlight driver? Does Lewis sell these fuses? Lewis sells everything. Last Christmas I gave you my heart. Yeah. That's the only thing that makes sense. Maybe you burned it. It's always possible. Did you reball the original? You promise? You asked me about doing that like 10 times. Derek, does he sound like he's telling the truth? Me either. He sounds like he's full of it to me. All right. Let's examine my balls. Good balls. Beautiful balls. Lovely. Okay, let's see if we get a light. Those balls are clean. Those balls are cleaner than you could ever imagine. And I will continue to play with my balls. Do you ever have dreams or nightmares about your job? Sometimes I'll get home and I'll go to sleep And like 2 or 3 in the morning, I'll have a dream, and then about a board that I couldn't fix, and I'll have fixed it in the dream, and then I've woken up and rode my bike to the store, and then actually fixed it using the information from the dream. That's cool when that happens. All right, do we get a light? Let's see. What do we have? Come on. Give me a question mark. Where's my question mark? If we see a question mark, it means my assistant not only destroyed my camera, but can't solder an LED driver. If there's a question mark, that means not only did he destroy my camera, but he cannot solder an LED driver. At which point, we're gonna put his head through the bars in the window over there and just.
Why are you turning it on so early? What the heck? No, I never left mine on that early. I just left it on for like a second.
But there was 8 volts. There was no backlight when I measured it originally. You're buying me a red camera. Ultrasonic this and put it back together.
Why even bother ultrasonic?
You're going into the gallows.
You left the bottom from it? Yeah, you took it. No, that's
Next. Okay. Nah.
I'm just gonna alcohol this one. This doesn't use it.
More junk. Beer spill. Abs. 2069. I'm sleepy. Time to go. This already turns on. Boring. And this was sent by a store, so this is probably a total waste of time because stores like wasting people's time. 2069. Others. What the hell is this doing here? Yeah. You already work. You. Huh. Doesn't have. Oh, Wi-Fi doesn't work. Meh. Meh. That's not going to be a fun one. Next. Other store gets to be the bottom of the pile. Lewis does not read Twitch comments ever. It's the most common question. Okay. Let's see what's wrong with this one. 20742. This one already works. Boring. All right, just reassemble. Well, then that's it for that one. All right, so that's it for board repair for today. I'm sleepy, so so it's time to get out of here. I'll answer any final questions before I go, if anybody has any. But then I'll get out of here. What's for dinner? A burrito, as always. Kind of wanted to see the Wi-Fi repair. Yeah, but my head's not in it. That's going to be an annoying one. I'm kind of hungry. Well, you send overhead camera to Jessa. Maybe I should punish her with the overhead camera. You know of a good place to buy 1398 screens? Nope. If I did, I'd buy them. Yep. About time to go. Time to go. Time to get out of here.